What's up, YouTube? It's Dual Killing Anime coming at you guys with another video, and I know I don't look, up to par. I'm kind of in my robes right now. I'm just chilling. It's a Saturday, guys, and I gotta be, I gotta look chill when I'm making this video. So let me get into this video. By the title, you can see it's a long wait for this video to happen. I've been waiting to make this video happen. Some of my subscribers have been waiting for this video to happen, and for the people who are going to subscribe to me because of this video, I know you have been waiting for this video to happen. I know you're going to subscribe to me because of this video, because I'm going to go so deep into this topic. It's going to be crazy, but it's just another character profile. I haven't done these in a minute, and I want to do it so forth to one of my favorite shonen battle manga type characters, and his name is Yusuke Urameshi, and he's from the series of Yu Yu Hakusho. Definitely for most of you guys who are subscribed to me and to my viewers, you should already know what this series Yu Yu Hakusho is. I'm not going to go into a synopsis of it, and I'm just going to go into a character synopsis of Yusuke Urameshi, followed by a character analysis, tell a little bit of series events that has happened with Yusuke Urameshi. Then we'll get to the meat of the video. You'll get your normal pros and cons, but primarily there are going to be four things I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to have my personal favorite / tenure for the series of Yusuke Urameshi. This will cover my personal feelings about how he was handled, the character of Yusuke Urameshi throughout the show. And then I'll talk about the character development of Yusuke Urameshi. And then I'll talk about his importance to the story. And then I'll talk about his overall design as a person, as a character, as a device inside of the Yu Yu Hakusho story. And then I'll finally sum it up into a rating system for that character. Alright, let's get into the video. Basically, Yusuke Urameshi is a punk kid who's in the 8th grade. He's in middle school at the time, and he's one of those hard knock life kids. He has no father. He's being raised off of his mother, and his mother's a drunken hard, cold hard bitch who hardly raises Yusuke and tells him to do right from wrong. Yusuke Urameshi, without this sudden sense of guidance in a father figure and the lack of guidance from a mother, he virtually seeks attentions from other people by going into heinous acts during, his middle school / secondary school tenure. Alright, we first see him as a punk kid, who doesn't go to class, reports to class, always gets in fights, always fights with rival gangs, and who just causes a whole bunch of mischiefs, and where the faculty, the teachers, just the students have gone to despise him or fear him. But with Yusuke, in the story, as we see in the beginning, he basically isn't the identity of what people perceive him as. And when I say that, I mean, for the people in the story, let's say the teachers, the students, whatnot, who see him as a mean, rough kid, came from a hard life, but who genuinely just didn't care about school, simultaneously you get this from a lot of reward aspects. He did care about a lot of things, but he just sought attention through people who would give him that sense of attraction or that sense of attention that he's been longing for subconsciously that he didn't get at home. So basically, when it comes to the story, when Yusuke Urameshi dies in the first episode, and that's unusual for a shonen manga, for the main protagonist to die in the first episode, Yusuke then goes on a series of episodes to where he learns and where he recollects with himself that, life is precious, and the way he is running his life isn't as precious to what he's doing. So that's just the first character synopsis up until a front. And then as the series progresses in the manga and anime, Yusuke Urameshi goes through big trials and tribulations to very much grow as a man. And this is very important because for my specific opinion about the Yu Yu Hakusho series and how Yoshihiro Togashi handled Yusuke Urameshi, I'll say that Yusuke Urameshi, bar none, is the best shonen battle manga main protagonist up to date, who has been developed and who has been, has told the perfect coming of age story. I'll say he's number one, and then you have Kenshin Yoshihiro with number 2 from Rurouni Kenshin. Okay? Yusuke, as I already give much credit to Yoshihiro Togashi from developing him as a character, and I like to say this a lot, it's a coming of age story done right. You can see, and this will go to my first point about Yusuke definitely having one of my personal favorites about him, is that he is coming from a long way, and it identifies with me personally is because of his story about hardship and just danger and lack of motivation and lack of love and lack of self-confidence, into facing hardship, into becoming a man, into learning about things that life, going a 180 on what he believed before in a logical step. I can say that I've seen that in figures, you know, whether it be relatives or family members, or even in myself. I can relate to Yusuke Urameshi into times, and you guys can relate to Yusuke Urameshi in times that he may feel at the beginning of the series, he will feel, you know, just abandoned or alone or not given the proper guidance by those, or not feeling loved, if you guys can understand that. And then throughout the series, he begins to develop relationships and friendships with the people that he loves and finds reasons more to live and to be able to be successful in life. Alright, that's one of my personal favorites about him. A second one is that he has one of my favorite main protagonist personalities and personas. And I like to say just the kind of cocky brat kid who's a teenager, but then who has to learn that what he's doing, you know, even though his character design, even though the way he does things is bad, the individual inside of himself is for good things. And and it applies to a lot of things in life. And I very much like how mangas tell this story. In life, you know, a lot of kids think that they're doing the right things, or who have their own opinions, but in retrospect, they're not doing the right things, but their intentions are good, or they have subconscious intentions that just, you know, want them to be good. Yusuke learns that through his initial intentions, what he was doing, that his actions were good enough. And what he was doing as a liaison to a spirit detective work very much made him grow and gave him the goals and gave him aspirations to further on the line, you know, connect with his father figure, Ryzen, and just to take control of, you know, certain things like the spirit detective job and have his own opinions and grow as a man. But I'm saying, you know, character development and growing as a man a lot. So that's my two personal favorites about Yusuke Urameshi. Moreover, I'll go into the topic about character development. Yusuke Urameshi has one of the best character developments inside known to date shonen battle manga. And I say this because, like I said before, Yusuke Urameshi was a punk kid, never went to class in middle school, and then as he develops, he comes into a person that is fighting for friends and becoming friends, you know, with the most obligatory of enemies, his rival gang, his rival gang member who would always fight all the time and Kuwabara. And then he had enemies such as Kurama, who he would connect with, and Hiei, who he would connect with. And as he went on to facing against these, and he went against the four sacred beasts, he I'd say for a comfortable fact, merged bonds with these three other characters inside the story. And then once you go into Rando and most notably Toguro, those are stepping stones for him to grow as in strength. But when you go into the Dark Tournament and what steps he had to take to face Toguro, he learned a lot of being able to reach your maximum potential and growing past the fact that, you know, things may happen in your life, but you have to get over them over time, and you have to accept your mortality and your humanity. I believe 301 Merlin Boss made a video on this a while back about Togashi and morality. And basically the lesson inside of the Dark Tournament arc for Yusuke to learn, which Genkai told him as Genkai's dying words were, is that you must accept, virtually, I'm going to sum it up, you can't run away from your mortality. And Toguro tried to do that for himself. And the lesson that Yusuke was able to learn allowed him to transform into that being that was able to defeat Toguro and to properly give Toguro solace onto what Togoro's goal was. And that was teaching others and gaining, I wouldn't say gaining, but teaching others to reach their maximum potential. And that was the same thing that he was doing with Yusuke. And Yusuke did that to a T. And with that, he took the lesson along the road of accepting your mortality and being able to be solace with yourself and not running away from your problems. That's a very potent thing for character development as a coming-of-age story comes for a shonen battle manga. Alright? And then you take it further with the character development even more. Now after post-Dark Tournament, Yusuke, you know, he's content with his morality. You know, he's more confident in doing a spirit detective job. But then he meets another protagonist named Sensui. And as the Chapter Black arc goes on and develops as a whole for the Yu Yu Hakusho series, Yusuke develops his own opinion and his own mind for what is right and what is wrong. And then I like how Togashi Yoshihiro really challenges or really makes the gray line between dark and good, but still, it really challenges the main protagonist to make a choice and to make a change into judging for himself what is the right thing to do and what is the wrong thing to do. Up until this time, Yusuke has been following, what basically has been Koenma's words and the spirit world's words for, his spirit detective job. And whatever the spirit detective had to do, whether it was rescue Yukina or do some things to save or, better the world, he would do it, no questions asked. But now he has that mind to be as, grown man and to come of age as a grown man to say that, look, I have to judge for myself what is the right and wrong thing to do as a spirit detective, and I have the ability to do so. So Yusuke, as he developed from A to B to C and forward, I like to say that it was very good. Not even good, but very good. Okay? I wouldn't say great, but very good. That's like an A-, okay? Now that I've covered that, I'll go over to the third topic, Yusuke Urameshi's importance to the story. Yusuke Urameshi's importance to the story can be clarified in much of it was a coming-of-age story, and through each villain or each trial that Yusuke had to face, of course he was the main protagonist, so he had one of the final fights. He was the one who faced off against the villains. But the change that he emitted towards the antagonist, towards the ends of those arcs, was more important than defeating the enemies as a whole. Because a lot of times in shonen battle manga, the main protagonist beats the villain, and then the villain is defeated, and that's the end of it. But as we see with Yusuke Urameshi, he changes the minds of two main antagonists inside of the story. That's with Toguro, and that's with Sensui. Toguro, after he's defeated by Yusuke Urameshi, he learns, to at least have faith in what Yusuke has, and to have a sense of mind to think that he's not going to commit the same mistakes that he does. Which gives Toguro a safer mind to think that, even though what he did was wrong, what he did to the present for Yusuke Urameshi to develop him, was important and set off into the future. Kind of like a father teaching his son an important lesson, and then he sets him off to go on his own, and you're feeling solace because you did that for them. And then Sensui to another T, because Sensui was able to relieve Yusuke Urameshi, because Yusuke Urameshi, to the contrary, was able to relieve Sensui from his confusion and his lack of mental understanding towards demons and human beings and the morality between the two, and just the overall lining and just how they could be defined. And I may use a lot of words here, but basically what I'm saying is that Yusuke was able to mend the heart of Sensui by defeating him as a demon, even though with Raizen's help, kind of, sort of, but as a demon. And he gave him solace to believe that demons and humans virtually are two different types of creatures, and you can't judge them based on how you perceive one or the other. You have to see for yourself. And Yusuke was able to learn that lesson and apply that further on to when he faced with Yoko, Kurama, and when, the Three Kings arc. Alright, so Yusuke's importance to the story happens as he affects the ones around him. And I think that's very much clarified in the series of in itself, but I just had to over-clarify about that. Another example I can give for the importance of the story in regards to affecting the ones around him is, of course, Yoko Kurama. And no, I'm not talking about Yoko Kurama, the YouTuber. No, I'm talking about Yoko Kurama in the story. The man he faced over just in the third tournament of a tournament again, I know, but I don't remember much of this because I didn't watch it too many times. But basically, he changed the heart of Yokurama, and he influenced him to become, an honest demon who'd see more to life into destroying everything and going after vengeance towards Kurama's fox demon. And also, he affected, let's say, I wouldn't say Makuro, moreover, but I'd say Raizen, moreover, because he gave Raizen a solace to be able to carry on his will inside of the demon world after his death. And Yusuke was affected, himself too. So the way that Yusuke affects others in the story is why he's important to the story. And you could say the same thing with Naruto, but this was done logically because as he affected others, he changed within himself and grew as a man. Alright, the fourth and final point I'd like to put it into is overall design. The overall character design of Yusuke Urameshi. Coming from a brat kid, coming, you know, just out of high school, something that a lot of teenagers like me and younger can relate to, I like the design of the story. And then as he comes older and facing these new obstacles and new challenges and these psychological challenges into where Yusuke has to think and forge his own opinions and become basically a man. The character design up until that feat, you know, how he may be brash or how he may be angry, but you know, he cares for his friends. And we like that type of character side of him. Or I know I do for sure. He may be, you know, rude, cocky, brash, but it shows his personality and it shows his character. And this type of character cares for his friends and he wants to protect his friends. Okay? That, you know, establishes ethos, I'd say, you know, I'm using the literature terms, but ethos with the reader and someone who's just watching the anime. But still, the overall design of him, I think, was done to a T. I give him a B+. So those are my 4 characteristic traits and characteristics that I'd like to put and describe Yusuke under: to his character development, importance to the story, his overall art / character design, and my personal favorites of him from the tenure of the series. That's been it. It's Dual Killing Anime. Man, I just came at you with another video. Like or dislike this video, I don't care as long as you get my name out there. Dude, all the quality with none of the filler. And if you don't know what that is, then you need to watch more anime. I'm gonna go take a shower. I just woke up. Peace. Alright? Thank you for waking me up. Now I